Anyone can show up with a hammer and build something. It's really hard to build it properly. There's no reason to be left like this. Absolutely none. An experienced contractor never would have done it. Our goal is to add a new addition that looks like it's always been there.
He and his team were the right people for the job.
Excellent preparation makes for exceptional application, right?
That is really cool. This is not gonna make the TV show, I guarantee it. A lot of what happens with contracting happens behind the scenes. It's not always about swinging the hammer. Don't put that on camera.
I understand what you're saying, but the code is the code.
You ruined the tape.
Sorry, actual work going on.
New day, new problems. We've had to shut down the entire site. Trailer got robbed. $12,000 worth of tools got taken.
I learned my lesson, and therefore I protect my men, and we don't play around with these things.
I'll help you.
Sounds good. Oh really?
Do you work quicker without the plaid?
Yeah.
These guys are gonna drive me nuts.
Steak for dinner tonight.
Steak tonight, nice. I'm looking forward to getting at it. Let's do it. The more I look at this house, the more problems I see. So I'm down in the basement trying not to hit my head, and I'm not being successful. Ow! But why am I down here? Well, we've got a cold bedroom. It's winter right now. All we've done is extended some lines upstairs and added one new heat run. So I don't know that what we've done has caused a problem, but you know, we have a problem. So I'm trying to solve it for them. Like these old houses, right? Like they're just insanity. Like just look at the wires that are here. Like everywhere I look, there's wires, there's plumbing, there's so much stuff. And man, oh man, has the ductwork been fiddled with over the years. So one of the things that we do with basically every addition that we put on is we like to do a balance of the furnace. So we had someone come here and balance the furnace, and he noted a couple small problems. One of which is where there's a supply by the front door at the bottom of the stairs, there's supposed to be a return. So I have to convert that to a return. Why is that a supply? Who knows? Who knows? Maybe there wasn't even a front door there back in the day. Who knows? But it's a supply. I'm going to convert that to a return. And then over here, come on over here, I'll show you. Watch your head. At some point, right? At some point, someone disconnected this supply that feeds the existing living room upstairs. This is one of these things. Again, I am now messing with the current structure of the home, something that I didn't, intend to do, because our addition is way on the other side, but I gotta make it warm, right? I gotta solve these problems. And these are the things that creep up when we're doing renovations, right? Am I responsible for this? Probably not, but do I have the ability to fix it? Yes. But do I see a ton of other minor things? Yeah. So when we're talking about balancing a home, what are we talking about? Well, it's talking about getting the same amount of airflow as possible at every register, or the right amount of airflow based on the size of the room. There's a calculation for it. So we had someone come and do that. What he's done is he's adjusted this damper. There's a damper in here. Right now, this is wide open. And if you adjust the damper and you turn it, you're gonna close it, which is gonna restrict airflow. But some of the issues that the homeowner's having is not related to anything we've done. It's related to how this furnace is set up. The crawl space is so tight, it would have made sense for this ductwork to tie into the furnace right here, but it can't because of like the layout of the floor joist, the beams in the way, which means this ductwork's gotta come all the way this way. It goes up, it goes over, and it grabs a boot over there off the main supply. Well, every time we add one of these 90s, we're adding the equivalent of like 4 to 6 feet of straight pipe, right? Because you're slowing down the airflow. This pipe, it's gotta go like craziness to get all the way upstairs. But one thing that I do have to do today is convert that supply over there to a return and then rehook up that supply over there. This is the return. This is the part of the furnace that sucks the air back. I want to tie into it. And the homeowners asked me, hey, if possible, Ryan, let's make sure we don't put any more ductwork around, like too tight in this area, because this is where they go underneath. Almost an impossibility. But I gotta go through here, but look over here, look at it from this way. This is insanity. I have so little room here to come down, and I'm gonna tie into this existing hole in the furnace, which has been here forever. Let me see if I can get my head up in here. I'm gonna rip this tape off. There's some sort of, look how dirty that is. This is why we don't use tape, right? This is just collecting the dust. There should have been a piece of metal here. I wanna put a boot here This is a good example, right? Look, they put a piece of cardboard here, and look how clean the cardboard is versus the tape, right? Don't just use tape, put something, not cardboard. Anyway, I'm gonna take it off this boot here. I'm gonna use flexible piping, which is not the best solution in all honesty, but I don't see any other way to get it to make all of these S curves and get it up there. Oh, this is not great. This is like insanity. I need a measuring tape. Okay, so we now know what needs to happen downstairs. We need to modify some of the ductwork, and I talked to you about those dampers, but one of the things that I'm just not comfortable with is the amount of airflow that I'm getting out of the rooms upstairs. So I put my glasses on, and I got my little tiny meter here. This tells me how much airflow is coming out of each vent. If you blow, and what I want to do is I want to go to a couple of the vents, get kind of a base reading, then I'm going to manipulate downstairs to see if I can get more airflow upstairs, and I'm going to use my little machine and write it down. It's a great spot to do like a music montage. When I was younger, I actually got my start doing duct work and cleaning ducts with my father-in-law who passed away, but this stuff is exciting to me. Like, there's so many changes that I can make. So this is 197. So this is feet per minute is what it's giving me. There's a calculation to get CFM, because I know a lot of you are probably thinking about CFM, but CFM is kind of dependent on the duct size. Feet per minute isn't. So this is just bedroom 197. So what I do here is you would think that you'd want to do it like this. It's not going to give you a true reading because you need to kind of add a little bit of restriction to it, which gives you 197. As long as you're doing it the same, like if I did it like this, but if you do it right in the center, it's like kind of like that. It's going to give you 139. It's not going to give you the best reading. So the corner is the best. And I find if you block it, you can get a true reading. A little restriction to force the air through the fan. And we're at 202, I wrote 197, so. Okay, next room. 202. Yeah, so master, I'm gonna put 200. This is like over 400. This is by far the strongest one. The office at 55, Allison's office, that is the problem. All of these are, you know, about the same, but I bet you that these two here have been tied together. And I bet you if I close Bill's office, it will raise Allison's. So let's go do that. So what I want to do is close this damper here, because this is one that's super strong compared to every other one in the house. Get that down to about 150 or so. That's what it was. It was at 459, so 459 feet per minute of air it's moving, cubic feet. Now I'm at 150, which is better. So now I'm very interested to see, is it Allison's office that's affected? Is it bedroom 1 that's affected? Is it the master bedroom or the other master bedroom? So one of those should have been affected because, like I say, they tapped in, this was tapped into to grab air for that other bedroom. So let's go upstairs. So unfortunately, there's no difference in that office, which means it's not shared. So we were at, so it's this one. So this one here was at 197 and I'm now at 328. So these two are shared. So I closed the damper. I was hoping that these two rooms are tied together. They're not, but Bill's office, bedroom 1 are linked. So the idea would be to balance these, because there's still a lot of airflow coming out, so that the right, like they're equal, but I say equal, but maybe they don't want so much heat in that office because, like I said, down that main level, there's so many like registers. Let's go over to the other bedroom because I'm not thrilled about this other bedroom here either. Well, we're at 220, 250, so it went up to even just making that one change and causing more air. It increased it about 50 feet per second, which isn't terrible. But I want to go downstairs now and I want to play with a couple dampers. Come with me. No, seriously, come with me. The one that's right here.
So there's 2 of them in there.
There's 2 of them in there.
Yes.
There's 2 in that room?
Yeah.
Where? So I was just talking to the homeowner, and like I was saying, this vent right here is tied, it's shared to that bedroom that I just showed you. And I was just chatting with the homeowner, and he's like, well, what about the other vent in this room? There are 2 vents in this room. There's another vent. This vent here is tied to the master bedroom. And let's see what I'm getting here. 350. So Bill's office 2, 350. There is way too much airflow in this little room and not enough upstairs. Now, this one here, Jason, our HVAC guy, had put in a damper. I'm gonna go turn off that damper and see if I can slow this down, which will force more air upstairs. I'll go do that. Here's this damper, right? So I wanna close this damper, and like I said, there's a little plate in there. That is now closed. It's gonna restrict the airflow. I did it 100%. The homeowner's gonna have to adjust it to get it just right. But let's go upstairs and see what happened now that I did that. So it's dropped from 350 over to 238. So that means that the master bedroom, which is 200, if they're tied together, is now gonna go up. Well, let's go back upstairs. So I went from 200 to 300. That is awesome. So now, the only problem that I have to deal with is the office. Let's see if what I've done has increased this at all. I was at 55, I'm now at 70. This bedroom is an issue. 70, you know, if I did the math on that, I'm just kidding, I'm using ChatGPT because it can figure it out based on the duct size. I've already told it the duct size, it's doing the math. 9 cubic feet per minute. It's just not going to be able to heat this room. This room is always going to be cold at 9 cubic feet per minute. We need to get more air up here. And this, talking to the homeowner, this was the existing run. So I need to find it and I need to put a booster fan in it because 9 cubic feet, it's not going to work.
It's supposed to be returned.
This needs to be closed. This needs to be turned off completely. You can't have a register right here.
That's supposed to be... Sorry, I shouldn't be swearing like that.
I didn't know it was recording, but Jesus Christ! No, this is not gonna work. This needs to be capped off immediately. We shouldn't have a return at all. This should be stale air. There should be no real air movement.
There should be no movement here.
No.
So that should, okay.
Right, so that needs to be killed.
So it'll be ornamental.
It's getting hot in this house right now because we've had the furnace running.
Sorry, I've got brands on.
This is so much fun. All right, so Allison's office, that red room that we're playing in, it has 9 cubic feet per minute of airflow. There's something wrong. It doesn't make sense. We didn't touch that room. That was an existing room. Homeowner's telling me that was the strongest room. We just moved it from the floor into the wall. And I come down here and I'm looking at these duct runs and I look at one of them and it says back room and the damper's closed. Is that the problem? Was that the back room? Back room, eh? I feel like I should open that up and go back up and test. Okay, I gotta figure out which one is the back room and why that damper was closed. So I gotta go basically test them all again. I'll be back. Work on a house from the 1800s, they said. It'd be fun, they said. I don't even have to test it. 630. The damper was closed. Now, why is the damper closed? Maybe it's just loose and I don't want to talk about it. So now that I've opened it up and I have 630, that's too much. So it needs to be closed. It needs to be brought down. What have I done to all the other systems up here? So this one's now at 82. I've taken so much air. Now that this room, which was my weakest room, is now my strongest room, and it's now going to affect all the other rooms. So now I need to close that damper again, but not completely. I think what happened is the damper is just basically a plate, and it's vertical in this case. So maybe it just fell and snapped because maybe someone had adjusted it before. But 630 is way too strong. All of them now are gonna be changed. This one here is at 216. This is bedroom 1. It was at 328. So I've lost some there. The master bedroom was at 200. I'm now at 80. And this one here, I was at 400 and now I'm still at 400. Oh, you know what? Because this one here is existing too. This room was an existing room that is off the same type of the furnace. I didn't change it, it's right there. Okay, I'm gonna go adjust that damper downstairs and then come up here and reset it. So we'll do it there. I'm gonna have to put some tape on that because it's super loose, or try to get my pliers on it to tighten it up. Ugh. I think what happened here is during the renovation, the vibrations caused that to fall. Okay, I'm gonna zip upstairs and test it one more time. Hey, you coming? Nice and warm in here now. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. But I'm going to tell you, I need a drywall saw. And there's going to be a new touch up here. Hey, Bill. Funny story. You know how I mentioned to you that I needed to move that ductwork because there's a little bit of gap between the drywall and the ductwork? Should have done that. My little machine's by. I'm going to have to cut a hole in the closet, and there's going to be a new touch up for the punch list. This is not going to make the TV show. I guarantee it. There it is. It's right there. Max's wire is stuck on Max's wire. There we go. Okay, let's go back to filming TV. So the air coming out of here is 23 degrees. No, 30 degrees. So I think we can close the damper just a little bit more. We have decent airflow on all the vents. This one's back up, 240. Let's say 240 and round it up a little, which isn't great. And if it was by itself, it would be a problem, but we have the other vent by the window that's at 400. I think we're good. I think we've solved this. There's no reason for this room to be cold anymore. Now, the furnace needs a return, which also will affect everything because the furnace is starving for air based on the report. So we're gonna go put a return in, change a supply to a return, and then we're gonna see. All right, the thermostat, while it's in the hallway, and that's a great place for it, there's also a supply run right next to it. The furnace is short cycling, which means it's turning on, it's running for a few minutes, and then it's turning off. And it caught my attention right away. I'm like, why is it doing that? That's odd. And now I know it's because that supply line is right next to the thermostat. So of course, it's gonna like heat up super fast. So I've turned that off. Because I've messed around now with all of this ductwork, I'm gonna hook up a return to draw air out of this basement area here because it is quite warm down here. It's got a thick concrete wall, there's spray foam here. I'm gonna hook up a return that just draws air out of here when the furnace is on, constantly taking this warm air and dumping it throughout the house. I'm gonna turn that supply completely off. I'm just gonna turn it off and we're gonna see. There are 6 supply lines feeding the upstairs, the living room, the dining room, the kitchen. 6, too many. I'm gonna turn that one off. We're gonna see what happens. I'm gonna have a return here. We're gonna see what happens. When it comes to doing ductwork and changing the airflow, it's not something that you do right away. It's not instant gratification. It takes time. You have to allow the furnace to play around for a few days to see how a little change here makes it. You saw that. I made a little change there, like in one ductwork, and it affected another ductwork. How to balance that. You know, homeowners, this is something that if homeowners would actually do and learn how to do, you could save a ton of money making that furnace really, really efficient. Now, I'm just gonna hook up a return, I'm gonna turn that off, and I'm gonna let the homeowner tell me how does it feel in a couple of days, because I have a sneaking suspicion it's gonna feel a whole lot better. This is gonna be a nightmare, but I have a plan. This is gonna be a nightmare. Now I gotta bend the tabs over. Oh yeah, that looks great, Ryan. A lot of people might just be like, oh, just tape it. No, if you tape it, you end up with this. But before I get too carried away, let's try to hook up this flex ducting. Aha! Man, the gauge of it is not what it used to be, you know? Like if you look at this is something that was done probably in the 70s or 80s. Like look at that, that is super thick gauge. And this, back in my day, nice. I'm gonna give you a tip when you're using this stuff. If I do this and I rip it, you end up with the paper, because this is the sticky side, there's paper, and you gotta like fart with it to get it apart. So normally what I do when I'm ripping it, I'll put my thumb there like that and I'll rip it on this side of my thumb and then I'll just leave a little bit of paper so that I can get it. It's a little pro tip. So now like little holes like that, we can tape that up where we did the repair. This will make a very big difference. So now we have added a return to the basement where it didn't have one before. And I'm gonna be grabbing the warmer air in the basement because I've put it up high. And if need be, this is where I'm going to use it. If I need to add that other return, which I'm not convinced I do, I will use this one and I'll find somewhere else to tap in for a return. But I wanted to use here because there was already a hole. Pull this as far as I can get it. Ugh. Can you pull it? Oh. Dustin, can you clean this mess up? Oh, he's not here, that's right. One thing I gotta do though is I gotta get some insulation and tuck it in here because the ductwork cannot be touching the metal. So we need to fix that. Other than that, I think that's gonna be ready for the electrical inspection because it'll fail if that's done. So I gotta do that. I think we've made some significant difference in the home. I wanna block this off real quick because the thermostat is right there and it just doesn't make sense as to why this is here. And then we'll see what changes it makes. Man, the hot air coming out of here is super strong and right next to the thermostat. Let's try it on this one. Perfect. Zero. I have a real problem holding on to this thing. This one's at 250, which is pretty good. That's really good, 315, I'm happy with that. 230, not bad. We've upped that one. That one was at 200 if we remember, so we've upped that one. And this one here is a little less than, well, this one's at 400. It's always been at 400 because we haven't messed with it. So there's no reason why they shouldn't be comfortable anymore. And if we need to get more air up here, we can always throw in a booster fan, but I feel like it's worth a shot. We'll see what happens in the next little while. Are you coming or not?